Musical Talk, the UK's independent musical theatre podcast. Hello and welcome to Musical Talk. I'm Thos Ribbits. Ribbits Thos I, Musical Talk to welcome, as they would say in the dimension where everything goes backwards, except for merrily we roll along. Now, you may have heard the mini episode that we broadcast recently on Musical Talk about the fabulous York New Musicals Festival. It's the first British festival dedicated to musical theatre, and particular new writing, and I'm really excited at the prospect. Today we're going to hear interviews from some of the contributors, the organiser and the people who have written the shows. The idea is such a good one, and it's something we've been crying out for a very long time here in Britain. But at last it's arrived, and I do hope that if you get a chance that you'll be able to go along and see some of the shows there. Because making a success of the York New Musicals Festival is really important if it's to survive its first few years and then become an institution and an annual event leading up to the Edinburgh Fringe, which takes place just after it. The website is www.ynmf.co.uk, and you can go there to get a complete rundown of all the shows which are taking place. And if you are anywhere near York between the 23rd and the 29th of July, which is this week as we broadcast, then do go along and catch the shows. There's a splendid array of different shows and different styles of show over the course of that week. And if it's anything like the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, there'll be a fantastically enjoyable atmosphere and a chance to actually meet and talk to the people involved in these shows. Let's preempt that slightly by talking to some of those people, because coming up are interviews with Jim Welsman. He's the director of this new festival, and he tells us how it came to be. We'll be hearing from Rob Winlow, who's also instrumental in creating the festival and has 2 shows on there, including a workshop about Jane Austen, and of course his latest version of the very popular show Armada, which I enjoyed so much at last year's Edinburgh Festival Fringe. And then finally we'll be hearing from Anthony Irwin, the composer and creator of the very first musical to be heard and seen at this brand new festival, and that's called Lady Luck. You'll hear those interviews in succession, and I do hope it'll give you a real taste and indeed appetite for what's on in York as part of the York New Musicals Festival. Musical Talk. Jim, it's a real pleasure to speak to you, and if I may say, an honour, because I know that you've done something wonderful for the fans of musical theatre.
Well, that's nice of you to say so. I must say that we're quite pleased because we've finally got the festival off the ground.
And we are talking about the York New Musicals Festival, which is the first such festival in Britain, I think, really. Is that right?
Yes, that's definitely right. It's certainly the first festival devoted to new musicals.
Because we do know, of course, at the Edinburgh Fringe there's lots of musicals, but that's just part of a much bigger environment for drama and theatre and music and everything. So this is a dedicated festival for musical theatre in this country, and I think for the most part new musicals as well. Is that correct?
Well, that's what we're aiming at. We're aiming at, I think the term is unpublished musicals.
For now, yes. But
yeah.
Published soon, I hope.
Yes, well, that's what we're hoping, that this will help to kickstart their publication.
Do you mind if I ask you, how did the festival come to be? You are sort of credited with creating it and bringing it to the fore, and you are its director, I think. So tell me, how did the festival start?
Well, it's not just me. In fact, I was the chairman and production manager of the York Musical Theatre Company. I was chairman for about 13 years. And we put on all different types of musicals over those years. And one of our members, Rob Winlow, he had written a musical called Armada. And he was very keen to put it on. But I must say my committee were less than keen because they felt putting on a new musical was too risky and would lose money. But eventually I did persuade them to put on Armada. And I'm pleased to say it was a success, and even financially, we certainly managed to break even. And that really sort of spurred me on. Rob said, there is no real vehicle for new musicals in the UK, and said, what about putting on a festival, and it was from that we grew the idea of putting on a new festival.
Well, I'm personally very pleased that you did, and we know Armada here on Musical Talk because I had the pleasure of seeing it last year at Edinburgh, where it's coming back again, and it is a very much more successful show than the original Armada was itself, I'm pleased to say. So you knew Rob from a while ago.
Yes.
And you picked up this new musical as part of your York Musical Theatre group.
That's right.
So when was this, and sort of at what stage was Armada? Because I know it's constantly in development and gets better and better with every iteration.
Well, it's nice of you to say that, because I think it is a very much improved musical, and I think that's one of the other interesting aspects, isn't it, of any new musical. It quite often goes through various stages as it grows, and I think Rob is an ideal example of that. In fact, Rob asked me to direct the first production. It was very much there a sort of historical piece, but I think now with the use of multimedia, it's now become, I think, more Blackadder-ish in its style, and I think it works very well. I mean, I went up to the Edinburgh Festival, and it had moved on very well, and I think the latest version, which is going to be at the festival as well, will be different again.
And can I ask, in your original version that you looked after, was Rob Dr. D in that as well? Because he brought a real twinkle to that when I saw him last year. He's born for the part.
Yes, he was indeed Dr. D, and I think we already saw those Blackadder-ish possibilities coming out of his role and various other parts in the show.
But one show does not a festival make, as they say. So you had this very successful show, Armada, and from there was inspired you and he and several others. But setting up a festival is rather more than just putting on a show. So what made you bite that bullet, and how difficult has it been for you?
Well, I must admit, initially it was very exciting. We thought we would set up a website and see what interest there was. And I also scoured the internet to see if there were organizations that were interested in new musicals, etc., etc. And we were quite thrilled that within a matter of weeks we'd had something like 40 to 50 expressions of interest, and then a few weeks later that had grown to 70 or 80. So that really gave us the motivation to go forward. I make no apologies that we decided in essence to copy the Fringe format. That was to organise a venue and get people to apply to perform in that venue, and we would do all the administration and marketing and assist them in any way to put their production on, and hopefully at an affordable cost.
That's so important, isn't it? To develop new work, you've got to give it the space to be seen, and one of the best ways of doing that is to give people a venue and an infrastructure into which they can plug themselves, and as you say, at a price that won't mean that they have to give up any internal organs on eBay.
Yes, I mean, and that's, what we've done is we've actually hired the theatre at a very good rate. We've discounted that to the various people who are putting on the shows, and they also get the income from the sale of tickets, similar to the Fringe. So we hope that that's a combination that will pay its way.
I hope so. It's also one of those things, I think, that once you've done it more than 1 year, and I hope that this is going to be a long and permanent fixture for British culture, that people will start coming more and more. It generates its own audience in a way after a year or two. So I hope that we're having this conversation on and off every year for a good few years yet, Jim, if that's okay.
Yeah, well, I must admit, so do I. I mean, I think it's interesting. Rob and I only had a meeting this week and said, well, everything's set up and we're ready to go. And, obviously afterwards we will need to review it and see how things went. We had a discussion as to whether the first year was the most difficult or whether, in fact, next year will be more difficult, because I think if things go well, as I hope they will, we would like to expand to various venues next year.
I think that can only be to be encouraged, if you don't mind me saying. I think it's so wonderful that you've decided to do this because it's worked so well in America. I mean, we know about, if I may say, with using the same words, the New York festivals for musicals. Obviously, that's over the years developed and become a powerhouse for generating and supporting new musicals. In this country, we've just not had that infrastructure. And I think, if you don't mind me saying, in the world of musical theatre, there's a statue with your name on it, just waiting.
Well, it's nice of you to say that, but it's interesting. One of the things that did happen is that obviously I did make contact with New York, and it was very nice to have an email from the festival director wishing us every success and saying that perhaps in in the future we could, in fact, swap shows, which would be great.
Fantastic, if I may say. Lovely to see some of theirs over here and some of ours over there. That would be great. And that's not the only appreciation that you've had, is it? Because I think a well-known playwright has had something to say positively about you.
Yes, that's right. Willie Russell, he's very kindly sent us a letter of support. And we were, really delighted to get that, saying that, it's important to provide a showcase for new musicals and provide an invaluable stimulus and encouragement to all those who, against the odds, grapple with the most demanding but highly rewarding form of theatre. And I think that sums up what we want to do.
I don't think you could have put it that better yourself, if I may say. And he's done it too, as well, hasn't he? Because no one would argue that Blood Brothers hasn't been a long-term success.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, in terms of the festival, you said that you'd got up to 80 or 90 expressions of interest. How does one whittle that down to a week? Because even with a week and, say, I believe 4 shows a day, which is marvellous, you've only got a limited number of slots. How does that how did it pan out?
Well, basically, it actually worked itself out, because all those expressions of interest were obviously conditional upon, was the date right? Could they get the show together in time? Could they get a cast? Could they afford it? So all those elements came into play, and basically we then honed in on doing just about a week. We've got lots of interest, in fact, for future years, but a lot of the people couldn't get their act together for this year.
In a very literal sense, of course.
Yes.
But you've got a great variety of new writing, haven't you? And from all over the country. I mean, it's based in York at the Joseph Rowntree Theatre, I think.
That's right, yes.
But you've got people, it really is a national festival, because you've got people from London, people locally, you've got people from everywhere. So tell us a little bit about some of the people you've got on and how, the variety that we can see.
Well, the first one I'd like to mention, because it is crossing the pond, so to speak, is a musical called Seasons. Now, that, in fact, is written by 2 Americans, and it's going to be produced and directed by a local company called Pick Me Up Theatre. It was written and composed by Elaine Pechatek and Katie Hammond, who both live in New York. And it has had an airing in New York. It's not yet been professionally produced, but is going to appear at our festival. So we're delighted about that.
That's a very good hook, if I may say. And it shows the real connection between, as you say, the British festival, if you like, your York festival, and the New York festival, even if it hasn't necessarily come from that festival. It's come from New York, where, musical theatre is the lifeblood of almost everyone walking down the street, as far as I can see.
That's right. And then we've already mentioned Armada. We also have a new musical, Girl with a Torch. The lady who wrote that, Judith Kaplan, she's very concerned about young people. And she's written a sort of moral story to explain to children that not everything in the world is good and beautiful, and you've got to accept that there are some bad elements in the world, but it's done in a fairy tale sort of way, and I think it sounds delightful and is very, very suitable for children of all ages.
So family as well, not just kiddies.
Absolutely, it's a family show. Then we have Lady Luck, which I suppose is the other end of the spectrum, where we've got 3 young ladies vying for the attention of a rather arrogant man.
Perhaps not child fair so much.
Yeah, so that's also, I think, very interesting. We've got Cindy Weller, which I think is going to be a bundle of fun. Basically, it's a modern retelling of Cinderella, but the background is a golfing family. It's all intertwined with golf, and it's got a lot of 60s music in it. It's written by a guy called Mike Rogerson, who was a member of a pop group for many years in the 60s, and he's always wanted to write a musical with 60s style musical, and he's done so. You won't be surprised to hear he's also a keen golfer, so hence his take on Cinderella.
Can I just double check with you there? I mean, obviously the obvious thing is when people are talking about golf, you'd think swing might have been more appropriate for music, but that's just a cheap joke. But more to the point, you say it's 60s music because he was there in the 60s. So is it old songs repackaged, or has he written new songs, but in the style of the 60s from when he came?
They're all original songs, and they are really feet-tapping songs. I think anybody who comes along to see it will really have an enjoyable time, because every song you can clap to, you can tap your feet and really enjoy it.
Everyone's a hole in one, in fact.
Very good.
And what else do you have? Because, I mean, forgive me, you've already described quite a good range of musicals, and that's not the end of it, is it?
Yes, then we have a one-woman show called Confessions of a Rabbi's Daughter. And you can imagine that has a Jewish background. And
if it doesn't, there's something wrong with the research.
We have a young girl here who's growing up, and her parents are expecting her to be a good Jewish mama, but she finds that she has feelings for her girlfriend.
Oh, right.
So I think that's going to be quite interesting. And the woman show is composed by and performed by Emily Rose Simons.
And it sounds to me it's exactly what the press would describe as a contemporary drama.
Absolutely, yeah. And she basically has appeared at the Fringe in Edinburgh before, and this is her first time with us, so we're really looking forward to that.
So it seems to me already that we've got a good range of established playwrights and musical writers, people who've got history and have done it in Fringe environments and elsewhere, off Broadway and all manner of bits and pieces, plus brand new to the game kind of thing, as it were.
Yes, that's right. Yes, and we've got two works in progress. One is called Francesca's Passenger, and the other is Austin the Musical.
And that's by Rob again, I think, isn't it?
Yes, that's by Rob again. It's nearly completed, and it is the story of Jane Austen. And I think that will be a very popular show when it gets off the ground, but we're doing it as a work in progress.
But that's also interesting, if you don't mind me saying, because anyone who likes musicals knows that musicals don't just turn up fully formed on the page. They're so often worked and reworked and workshopped, and actually to have the opportunity to go to a workshop is a real privilege for a member of the audience, I think.
Well, I hope that's so, because we did try the format with Armada when we were doing it, and we were delighted. We even issued a sort of critique sheet so that people could put their comments on what they liked, what they didn't like, and that certainly helped Rob to even hone it at that stage. So we'll probably try that again.
So it's a way of actually getting involved in the development of a musical yourself. So it's less passive even than just tapping off at toes. It's right in there and helping development.
Absolutely. And Francesca's Passenger, that's sort of set in 1948. It's a young girl who's been uprooted from her home, and there's some secret in the background which I presume we'll hear about in the show itself.
Now, taking us to the festival overall, you've got a website, so can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, all the information about the shows are on our website. There are details of every single show, information about the composers, and importantly, you can go straight from the website to the box office, which is being run for us by the York Theatre Royal, which means you can book online, by telephone, and call in the theatre if you're in York. Also, online, you can, if you wish, become a festival VIP, which means you get a very big discount on the price of tickets to come and see all the shows. And perhaps great fun, on the Saturday and Sunday, we have day tickets where you can see all 4 shows at a substantially reduced rate. And I think that could be quite interesting because we planned it so there's only 30 minutes break. And, we're trying to make that a bit of a clubby atmosphere. And anybody who becomes a VIP or day ticket holder, we have a special reserved area. In fact, it's the whole of the balcony in the theatre, which is provided for VIPs and day ticket holders. And we will be providing them with some form of refreshment, which will be free of charge.
Well, that sounds like a really great idea. So people, particularly at the weekend, although it runs for the whole week, at the weekend when people have got a bit more time, they can actually come and see all 4 shows for remarkably cheap rates.
Yes.
Jim, this festival, I think, is something that we much admire, and I thank you personally for being one of the instrumental creative people behind it. But what's your hope for it? What's your hope for this year and the future for this fantastic new festival?
Well, I mean, obviously, we would like to see it grow and grow. There are obviously, from the expressions of interest we had, there are literally hundreds of composers out there who are all, writing new musicals. And we really would like to give as many of them as possible the opportunity to showcase their show at our festival in the coming years. However, as with all new musicals, we really do need people to come and see them. people really need to sort of take an interest in what's going on in the musical theatre world, and this is the best opportunity to do that.
Well, I think it's a marvellous opportunity for people to put things on, and for people who want to see shows like this being put on, because I love musical theatre. I don't have any pretense at being a great writer or anything like that, but going to musical theatre is such a great experience, and this is a chance to have all the fun of a festival like the Edinburgh Festival at home. So, Jim, it was marvellous talking to you. I hope this turns out to be a smash hit, and I hope from there it goes on to even greater and greater success in the future.
Thank you very much.
Musical talk. Rob, marvellous to speak to you again.
Thank you, Thos. Yeah, great to hear from you.
And I'm delighted particularly to be able to speak to you in relation to this fantastic new innovation in relation to musical theatre. I'm so pleased that at last we have a national musical festival. At last we're doing something that the Americans have been able to do for years and done very well, and I'm hoping this will be the beginnings of marvellous things. But you've been one of the great creators and dynamics of this along with Jim, so tell us a little bit about how the festival came to be.
Well, I had a show that I persuaded Jim to put on through York Musical Theatre Company, and he very kindly produced that and directed it, and it was quite obvious that it's very, very difficult for new writers to get work performed. He, as chairman of the theatre company, I wouldn't say was inundated with requests, but he'd certainly had a few over the years he was chairman. So there's obviously a need for shows to be put on. And because I was fortunate enough to be in the same theatre company as Jim, we had virtually a ready-made cast. But if I hadn't been that fortunate, we would have found it very difficult to find a venue and probably an audience as well. So that's where the idea started, to have a festival. I mean, other than London and Edinburgh, there doesn't seem to be very much in between where new work is being performed. So it seemed like a good opportunity to put things out and see what sort of interest we got.
I must say, on a personal level, I've always found, well, I like musical theatre in most of its forms, but obviously in London, in the West End, there's a fairly small c conservative approach to musical theatre. There's an awful lot of revivals or things which have been adapted from films. I've always thought that in this country, if you want to see something innovative, doing something, pushing at the borders of what musical theatre can be, you go to, if you'll pardon the expression, the Fringe, and it's just delightful to know that now the Fringe is picking up speed in other places where it hasn't necessarily had a chance to do so, to sort of to plant those roots, which hopefully it will flower later on.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Fringe is a wonderful place. I mean, you've been covering it for years now, haven't you? So
covering it in what exactly? But yes, I have. But let's talk about the festival. So you and Jim realised that there was a need, and I think it was very interesting what you were just saying then about something that really gives people a sort of a step up, is somebody helping you with the infrastructure of getting a show on, whether that be, as you say in your case, a cast and a theatre. But that seems to be one of the things a festival can really do to help, a sort of central box office, a venue in this case for Joseph Rowntree Theatre. Is that one of the most important things that you're able to give, or do you think it also gives other support that I'm not seeing?
Yeah, I mean, there is that. I mean, it's performing, dipping your toe in front of an audience that is fairly a non-threatening environment. The other aspect,
I like the idea of fairly non-threatening.
Fairly non-threatening, yes, yeah. Yeah, we may throw things, but the other aspect is that another side to it we really want to develop is the work in progress side. We have a couple of shows that are read-throughs, for example, and you never know really which aspects of a script are going to work until you put it in front of a live audience. You may think you know what's funny, you may think you know what's interesting, but unless you see people yawning for yourself, you're never really quite sure.
That's true, and that's true for everyone. I mean, I think George Gershwin had a song called The Man I Love, which had to go into 3 different shows because it certainly didn't fly in the first 2. So if he's able to develop, then I think everyone has that opportunity. So there are two shows which are sort of in development, which is, as you say, read-throughs and workshop. One of those is yours, I think, is it not?
That's right, yep.
Or one of your other shows, let's put it this way. You're a man of many talents. You've got Armada flying very well, if that's the right word for an Armada. But you've got Austin, I think. So tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. Oh, right. Thank you. Austin is a show which explores the difficulty of Jane Austen's life as a woman trying to succeed in a male-dominated industry at the time. It also looks at the question of her own love life, her personal life, because for someone who was such an expert at writing on all things romantic, she had very little in the way of a love life for herself.
What a sensible person.
Yes, it makes life a lot simpler, doesn't it? So we had to dig a little deeper, really, to find out any little flings that she did have, and there were a few, I'm pleased to say. So we've developed those and hopefully spun it into an interesting story around a lot of love songs.
And presumably you've also therefore been able to find a sort of a parallel with her works as well. I mean, it's I think that's interesting that her fictional life, whilst not absolutely being the same as her personal life, as you say, there's enough incident in that area in her personal life that may help illuminate some of the characters, would you say? I mean,
that's right, yes, and we try and expose the real life characters who seem to appear in some of her novels. So there should be a lot of references to her works within the show that people will get.
Now, tell me, I think it's absolutely fascinating. When one looks at Armada, which is it takes a period of English history rather than British history. You've also got Jane Austen, who is deemed by many to be a very English writer. Is that a particular theme in your life that you're pursuing? Would you say that you look for English themes, or is it just happy accident that history has all the best stories?
No, it is an accident, and not all my shows will begin with the letter A either. As far as Austen is concerned, I mean, a lot of her books have been covered, but her own personal life doesn't seem to have been, other than the feature film, which was, I think they used a bit of poetic license with that, really.
Unheard of.
As far as the story goes. So we try and be as authentic as we can. I mean, the other thing about Austen is there is rather a lot of interest for Jane and Jane's work and her life. So we thought we might have, hopefully, a ready-made fan base or people who may cross over into theatre or musical theatre as well.
Well, as you say, I mean, I think it's fair to say she's the mother of British novel writing. I mean, she precedes the Brontes, and she is such a groundbreaker in that sense. And as you say, her books are constantly being adapted, and there's a huge market out there. I mean, there's you probably know this. There's a larger-than-life mannequin of Mr. Darcy in a river at the moment, to represent the fact that Pride and Prejudice is yet again being repeated on a channel, one of the satellite channels. So it's
it's 200 years now, isn't it? Yeah. For Pride and Prejudice.
I think so.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that's interesting, of course, is that Jane Austen is a very successful female in a male-dominated society, as you quite rightly pointed out, and industry. And so, in many ways, I would have said is Elizabeth I, who has a striking role in Armada. Is that another thing that you've been pursuing in your career? Would you say that these strong female characters who, for whatever reason, have had to fight whatever circumstances they find themselves in and become successful? You know, no one would argue that either of these women weren't strong, successful women.
Yes, it's a wonderful aspect, isn't it, to look at people's struggles in life and see how they survive and succeed in the end. So yes, it wasn't a conscious effort, Thos, I have to say, but since you mention it, I'll grasp that with both hands. Yeah.
You can have that with my compliments, absolutely. But I mean, it touches on the point, which is that anyone who's had an interesting life and is still remembered so many years after their death must be worth investigating. And musical theatre, I think, allows you to do that in different ways. Is your style from Armada reflected in Austen, or have you sort of 18th centuryized it in any way?
Oh no, it's totally different.
Oh, go on.
You'll probably recall Armada had a lot of electric guitar in it. It's almost rocky in a sense, but Austen is very much string-based, four-piece, quartet, if you like, string quartet.
Oh, chamber musical kind of thing, almost.
Chamber music with a little bit of synthesizer thrown in for good luck, yeah.
Because one of the things I liked about Armada is, as you say, I won't say a wall of sound, that sounds off-putting, but there was a very strong musical sense to it, and it was quite a full musical sense. It certainly filled the room. And I thought, in many ways, that helped to reflect the hubbub of the time, and, of course, the sound of war and Armada. So I thought that your musical choices in that actually reflected, in a very real sense, in a musical way, what would have happened at that time. No one thinks of that period of the Tudor history as quiet and demure. And it's interesting to me that you've managed to find a way into the 18th century, which is equally appropriate for that.
Thank you, yeah. Armada is quite a big sound, you're right, and I thought it would be difficult to replicate that, really, with a live band, unless you have a pretty big one. So I was fortunate enough that my son, who is a graduate composer in his own right, was able to produce the music for that for me. So that's where the fullness of the sound comes in. So it's very nice that you pick up on that. Whereas with Austin, a much simpler, delicate sound is probably more appropriate for the time. So there's nothing too dramatic and not many cannons in Austin. So
unless they're religious cannons, of course, yes.
Yeah, very good.
So, can I ask, because we were saying that Austin is, in a sense, a workshop, I think, is that correct? That's so, are you looking for audience responses afterwards? What will the public see when they come to see it?
Yeah, very much so, yeah. It's going to be a rehearsed read-through, book in hand. So we very much we'll probably film it and gauge the applause or otherwise after each number or after each scene and take it from there. You never know with jokes, do you, whether they work or not until you actually perform. So, yeah, we'll be able to get a lot of useful feedback from that.
And I've got to ask this, Rob, because you were such a splendid Dr. D. There was such a twinkle in your eye. There was such a sort of, pizzazz in that character that really helped move Armada along with cynicism but delight and innocence as well. He's a man who knows what he's doing, but he's having a laugh along the way. Is there a part for you in Austin, Robert?
Oh, yes, I play Mr. Austin.
Mr. Austin, now there's a character rarely mentioned.
George Austin. We have a nice trio with Mrs. Austin, Jane, and her father, Mr. Austin, and it's all based around a proposal that has been made. Initially she accepts, sleeps on it, and then decides otherwise the next morning. And of course her mother is horrified at this, and we have a trio all about that conflict.
So once again, you're playing a sort of a character, not quite in the background, but a manipulator, a mover of characters, at least attempting to, perhaps.
Yeah, George tries to smooth things over a little more than Dr. D. I have to say, I picked up on your observation last year about Dr. D, and we are now playing more on the bogus side of his character, rather than him actually being able to perform any magic himself.
Well, on a personal level, that's very flattering. And secondly, I look forward to seeing it again. So tell us, let's talk a little more about Armada then, because the magic words, media and installations, and it's you've moved it on another step, haven't you?
We've changed things a little bit. The couple of the biggest changes were we were a character less. We found we could dispense with one of the Queen's advisors. So we just have a ping-pong between the Queen and one Lord Walsingham, one advisor.
Oh, well, if you're going to have one, Walsingham was a very good one to have.
Walsingham's great fun. And the other main difference is the use of projection. And rather than us bombing about on stage with cloaks trying to be other characters, we're actually going to have a couple of the Spanish scenes on screen. So hopefully that will give the effect of giving it distance, being somewhere else as well.
Yeah, widening the scope in many ways. Or cinema scope in this case, if it's being projected. Yes, quite. Yeah. That sounds fabulous. I mean, and is the version that can be seen at the York Festival and then presumably on in Edinburgh the full version?
That's right, yeah.
Oh, good.
We play it twice at the York Festival, then we have another performance in Goole as a preview before we bring it up to the Fringe. Yeah.
So there are several opportunities to see this version, and to see it in its full length version, which I have to say I've been looking forward to since I saw it last year. And I thought, I want to feel all the layers of this and see the whole of it. Is it the same cast or any elements of the original cast, or have you recast? It's a year on.
Yes, we still have Queen Elizabeth.
Jolly good. She was absolutely spot on.
You liked Jessie, didn't you?
We did, yes.
And
I thought I was in the presence of royalty, you see. So.
Yes, she's a spitting image of. And Sir Francis Drake is sailing with us again.
Oh, jolly good. He had a hearty, sort of ruddy countenance. Yes, he was very much the right man for the job.
Yes, same Walsingham, who happens to be my son, Will.
Oh.
And Dr. D's the same as well, of course.
I'm pleased to hear that in particular, if I may say. If I say, I think it's got to be you unless Rex Harrison is available. I think that's really where that's going, that part.
I don't think there's much chance of Rex doing it now.
Now, as well as appearing in and writing and creating and developing 2 musicals and being instrumental in helping to create the festival, you are sort of working quite closely with Jim on running the festival overall as well. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, Jim's done most of the work, really. It wouldn't be on if it wasn't for Jim, I have to say. And whilst we've pooled ideas and resources, he's done most, if not all, of the legwork, really. I mean, apart from giving support and bouncing reaction off me from time to time, I'll be there for the week and do what I can. But I think Jim needs to take all the credit, really.
But it's amazing to me that a festival can be sort of pulled out of nothing. A festival feels, certainly once they become established, you look at them and you think not 1 or 2 people couldn't have created this. And I appreciate this is the first one hopes of many years run. But I think it's a marvellous testament to you and to Jim that you have created this, I think, marvellous innovation, and I genuinely hope it goes on to greater things. I mean, if someone said to you, how do you see this festival? Do you hope it'll still be here in 20 years' time?
Oh, I think that would be wonderful if it was. I mean, obviously we hope it's going to be an annual event. We always knew the first year was going to be the hardest, and probably the first 3, 4, 5 years will be tough. I mean, we've no funding at all for it, and it's only because of the kindness of sponsorship we've received that it'll hopefully break even. We want loads of people to come and see it, and hopefully we go from strength to strength year on year. But this first couple of years will be harder, I would imagine. We've had a lot of interest in it, and it's great that we've got the shows we have, and it's brilliant. I would have been happy with just a weekend of musicals, but we've managed to do quite a lot more than that.
It's a full week, isn't it?
It's a good week, yeah.
And with multiple performances every day. So, if people arrive in the morning and stay for the evening, they'll have seen a variety of shows.
That's right. And I would really, really, really like to see a lot more shows in development as well. Hopefully next year, that would be marvellous. I would love everybody to feel that they were able to do that, and nobody's going to laugh at them.
I think that's one of the things that actually a festival like this can really help develop. Not just help people who have got shows coming in who need to have some kind of development, but actually, if you're a member of the public, sometimes going to the theatre in any of its forms is highly enjoyable, but a little bit passive perhaps. You're sitting there, you enjoy the show and then you go home again. But in a workshop or a development thing, you've got a chance to genuinely involve yourself to a small or a greater degree. If you want to, you can go up to the people involved in it after the show and tell them precisely what you think, positively or negatively. I mean, I think it's a real opportunity for the public and audiences to meet with the creators as well.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's absolutely priceless. It's very much a two-way valve, isn't it? Audience and performers and writers. Hopefully we will have people there with a lot more experience than ourselves as well as writers and performers, so that we really do have quality comments and feedback as well.
Well, I suspect, as you said, the first couple of years may be difficult just as you're establishing your name, but once you've become institutionalised, and that will happen very quickly, people will say, well, in the nicest possible sense, yes, I hear you're sniggering. What I meant was, yes, but the festival becomes a regular item.
Yeah.
But people will start thinking, I wonder what's on at the festival this year, and people locally in York will find it a doddle, but hopefully it'll draw people in from the rest of the country and perhaps beyond, in the same way that it's already done for some of its shows. I really like the fact that your shows are a proper variety. There seems to be something for everyone, and possibly more than one thing for everyone.
Yeah, there does. Yeah, there is quite a variety. I mean, we've cabaret and light-hearted musicals. We've one or two that seem quite serious as well. So there's hopefully something there for everybody. And yeah, it would be great if the word gets around so that it doesn't get to the stage where it's, say, 3-4 months out and people feel, well, I would like to come, we'd like to bring a show, but we just haven't the time to put it all together. So once it does become a regular on the calendar, musical theatre calendar, well, then people will be able to plan ahead a little more, and we'll get hopefully a few regulars as well.
Well, it's also a marvellous sort of feeder to the Edinburgh Fringe, is it not? Because in timing terms, it's pretty much spot on.
It's funny you should say that, really. I was talking to a London producer last weekend, and she was saying that it would work very nicely as a stopping off point for the Fringe next year. So if we could perhaps tie in with one or two other venues, so there are little stepping stones all the way up, that's a possibility as well.
And it's that marvellous thing, as we were saying earlier, of helping to develop the infrastructure so it's already in place for then the people to step on it and use it, as you say, using the stepping stones analogy. Yeah, it takes them one. And also, if you've played York and Edinburgh, you've done a national tour as far as I'm concerned, and that looks good on the advertising. Armada can definitely say that, can't it?
Yes, don't forget Cool.
Yes, well, Armada's been more successful than the original Armada, so
Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Yes, it's had 2 voyages.
And made it home again, which is more than the Armada did.
That's right, yes.
So we've got the festival. When can people see your shows within that week?
At the festival, we're on Saturday afternoon with Austin. That's the 27th. And on the Sunday afternoon, the 28th, we have Armada, and then on we're the last show, I think, on Monday, the 29th. All these are in July, of course. So we're on Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
That's right. You've got a busy weekend looming then, haven't you?
Yes, it's going to be an interesting week. Yeah, I shall be on the tablets by the end of the week, I would think.
Well, Rob, I'm so delighted to speak to you again. I mean, on several different accounts, really, because I think Armada is a show that deserves to go on to greater and better things, and it looks to me like that is happening. I'm delighted to hear that you've got other works, other irons in the fire, because I think Austin sounds like it's going to be a treat, and I look forward to catching that at some stage. And then most importantly of all, I think, actually, is the fact that you've been so important, along with Jim, in creating this new festival, which I think anyone who likes musical theatre, which is all our listeners, would really like to see make something of it. You know, just to develop and become one of the great cultural aspect, part of the summer of culture that we try to have every year in this country.
Yeah, it would be wonderful, wouldn't it, Thos? And I would like to thank you, actually, personally, for talking to us about it. And
thank you.
And I know Musical Talk is a great vehicle and very well respected throughout the industry. So thank you very much for raising our profile.
It is my pleasure. I don't mind telling you. I get to speak all the best people, you see. It gives me an excuse to stalk people. It's marvellous. Rob, marvellous to speak to you. Good luck, and I shall see you merrily in Edinburgh with Armada, along with many, many other people, I hope.
Thank you so much, Thos, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Musical Talk.
So my name is Anthony Irwin, and I've written Lady Luck the Musical.
Now, you, with Lady Luck the Musical, are taking, you have a place in history, do you not?
We do, yes.
And
we are opening the first ever York New Musical Festival.
The York New Musical Festival has a week-long run, I think, essentially.
Yes, yeah.
And it's showing a large number of shows, and yours is the first. And it's not just one performance, is it?
It is, no, it is just the one-off.
Oh, just one, catch it while you can.
One-off, yeah. Just on the 23rd, just the one show. That's it.
So tell us a little bit about Lady Luck as a plot, as a piece, and I think we ought to say immediately what your involvement in it is, which is as all-creating genius.
Yeah, so for this one I've written the book, music and the lyrics. So Lady Luck is a 4-man musical. It's quite an intimate setting. It's all set within a house and a workplace, a work environment. So the main character is Xander. He's about 25, 26, young working professional in the city. He has a long-term girlfriend, Zoe, and they're both living together.
So far,
so good. Pretty conventional, nothing out of the ordinary.
But I hear the word "but" hoving into view there.
Yes. Well, he has 2 other ladies in his life. He has his best friend, Paige, who went to university with him, and they've known each other for years. So they go out, they have nights in the house with pizza, and they go out to the pub together. Very sociable, very, very close friends. He also has Madison. Madison works with him and is very flirtatious in the work environment, as you need someone like that, don't you?
I'm not going to commit here.
So Xander basically has these 3 lovely ladies in his life, all completely different, and all of them at some point throughout the piece have some sort of affection towards him.
So, in a way, it's the eternal rhombus.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Well, let's talk about how this show came to be.
Okay.
And in a way, I think it's inextricably linked with the new York New Musical Theatre. Did you see what I did there?
Yes, New York.
The all-new York New Musical Theatre.
It's a tongue twister.
What inspired you to have the idea to write a musical?
Okay.
We've already spoken a little bit before we were recording about how an opportunity came up.
Yes. So I was back in February this year. I had a concert of standalone material, just one-off songs, that sort of thing. And they went down really well, had a lot of good responses to them. People asking for sheet music, people asking them to send the MP3s to them, that sort of thing.
That's good. The sheet music is particularly good, I think.
Yes,
because that's people who want to learn it
people
from the
who
page.
want to learn it. And I had a lot of people saying these are great for auditions, or these are great for concerts to put in the middle of a show. So I was like, well, maybe there's something there. So I picked, there's 3 of the songs that I did at that concert are actually in Lady Luck. So they sort of Lady Luck grew around them, as it were.
Yeah, as it were, yes. Yes, we'll just sit and think about that for a second.
These 3 songs, it seemed to go down really well, so I expanded it, basically. The 3 songs were each sung by one of the girls in Lady Luck. At that point, I didn't have Xander, the leading man. I didn't have that sort of character.
So the women were first?
The women were first, yeah.
Strong female characters?
Yeah.
And you were writing songs for them?
Yes.
Did you at this stage know that you were writing towards a festival, or were you just thinking this is something?
All.
So you were just writing in the dark?
It was, just writing standalone songs for leading females, because I found my strength in that at that time.
We were in good company. Jerry Herman does exactly the same thing. Yes. He wrote Hello Dolly. So good luck on earning the same money.
Exactly, yeah. No, I dabbled with writing for gents, but it never been as successful. So my strength lies with writing for ladies. Yeah.
So you'd written these songs, and
yes.
you had this sort of sense of it sort of coagulating together towards a story.
Yes, yeah.
Now, because let's be honest, you write the book, you write the lyrics, and you write the music, and you have done for this musical. Did you do them separately? Did you write songs and then think, how can I make the plot work? Or did you develop your plot and your book as you started to write additional songs and you started to understand your characters?
Yeah, well, it's sort of...
How integrated are you?
To be a bit of both, to be honest. I started with the 3 songs, obviously, and then I thought, well, these 3 characters are really interesting. Like, what would happen? How would they come together? So I created a character who linked them. So hence Xander. Yeah. And then I went back to how they all met each other, the character backgrounds, that sort of thing. And then from there, I started at the beginning. I knew where I wanted, the second act and the third act, all that sort of story progression. I knew what I wanted to happen. I just had to find a way to get there.
Yes, your journey, your
yes.
arc.
And at that point, I didn't know if it was going to be a romantic piece or a comedy or a drama.
Did you even have any sort of infrastructural things like knowing it was a 1-act or a 2-act or a 3-act, if you want to take it back far enough?
No, I was literally just writing and seeing what happened, because at that point I wasn't tied to the festival or anything yet. I hadn't.
If you don't mind me saying, however, I think that's exactly the right thing to do. Work out what your story is without working out what your parameters are, because that at least gives you, you can fit everything else around it after that.
Of course, yeah.
So, and did you find that the male character was exactly what you needed? Was there anything else? Because I know that there have been other characters in it and then taken out of it.
There was another character. It was another woman, but Xander's sister, so not romantically tied.
Well, one imagines.
Yeah, you'd hope so, And the character was a really interesting character, but she didn't really appear and she didn't affect the plot in a lot of ways. It was literally just a chance for the audience to see Xander out with a romantic environment, not having to put on his peacock feathers, all that.
So almost a way of seeing who he was reflected through his domestic family life rather than his sexual relationship.
But then I realised that he already has that through his long-term girlfriend. He already has his sort of home life.
He's settled 2 years kind of person.
So she got cut.
Oh well, maybe there's another story for her.
Maybe she goes off on her own story.
So the story's sort of developing, and you're writing these songs.
Yes.
I mean, give us, if you can, just sort of, did you? I mean, that's not a dead end, but it's part of development, isn't it? To put characters in and take them out again. Was there a time when you ever thought, oh, this is going to be great, or did you ever think, oh, this isn't going to work at all, I'll give it up, or did you find yourself going down many cul-de-sacs?
In terms of story and sort of, yes, I did. There was a lot of plots that I started and it didn't take it anywhere, it didn't take it far enough, or it wasn't relevant. It didn't matter.
It could happen, but why should it?
Yeah, like Xander, there was a subplot of Xander getting fired from his job. That didn't affect anything really. I mean, he was just fine. He got another job.
It's merely contextual.
Yeah, exactly. So that sort of thing, these sort of subplots, and they've chopped and changed.
So you're quite good at stripping it down to the actual nexus points of what makes the piece worth seeing, in fact.
Yes,
the relationships and the interrelationships.
Yeah, I'd hope to say, yeah. I mean, it's all very much testing the water with this piece because the York Festival is its premiere. Obviously, some of the songs have been heard before, but not in the context of the story. So it'll be interesting to see how the audience reacts to the show.
So you've got this show developing, and then you get to hear about the York New Musical Festival.
Yes.
I'm putting the new in the correct place there. But it wasn't ready for that, was it?
No, that was earlier. At the very start of this year, I heard about the festival, the York New Musical Festival.
Yes. Which is, let's be honest, is a brand new.
This is the first ever time it's happening.
And getting something up from scratch is a difficult game for anybody.
Yeah, and as far as I believe, it's the only festival in Britain that showcases brand new musicals. And that's, that's exciting in itself.
The Edinburgh Fringe does, but only because it does. It's not dedicated purely to that.
This is dedicated purely to new musicals.
This is a proper musicals festival.
Yeah.
So that's such a good idea.
So
I'm sure anyone listening to this programme would agree. And if they don't, you're on the wrong podcast.
Yes, exactly. No, it's great. Great opportunities. But at that time, I had nothing to submit.
Yeah. Because it was still in development, wasn't it?
I was still in development, yeah. I had... the pieces I've written before were large ensemble pieces, not suitable to a festival environment. So I didn't have anything to give.
Just touching on that, I love the name of your Sleeping Beauty. You did a Sleeping Beauty for an ensemble. It's with a cracking name.
Yeah, no, it's a modern adaptation of Sleeping Beauty, and it was called Awaken. So that's on iTunes if anyone wants to have a listen.
We'll talk about how people can get an earful in a minute.
Oh, wonderful.
Jolly good.
Awaken. That was exciting. That was December last year, 2012.
Oh right, so you had that going while sort of at least brewing this one.
Yes, yeah.
So you were invited to join the festival. How did they find out about you?
Through Mercury Musical Developments.
Oh yes, MMD.
Yes,
a well-known organisation.
Absolutely. They put a message out to us on the York Festival's behalf. So that's how I learned about them. Then I got in contact with Jim, who's organising the festival, and I basically just said, I'm so sorry, I have nothing to submit this year, but I'd love to hear more about the festival and perhaps apply next year. To which, to my surprise, he responded and said there was actually a cancellation, and would I like a slot? And of course, I took the opportunity. I grabbed it with both hands. I was like, yes.
Now, was the show fully developed by this stage, or did it still need... Oh, your face is telling me perhaps no.
No. The show was about 3/4 done.
Oh, right, okay. It was heading in the right direction.
It was heading in the right direction. It was almost complete. Like, I was ready to do maybe a concert version or just showcase the songs.
Yeah.
In maybe August this year is what I was planning. So this opportunity just sort of fast tracked.
Bring it forward a month.
Absolutely, yeah.
Although there's a world of difference between a concert version and putting it on as a fully fledged stage play, isn't there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That terrified me initially, but.
And what time of year was that then? Would you say? When did you finally jump on the bandwagon for this?
I was quite late on. I would say it was about April.
Oh gosh, yes, that is late on.
Yeah.
So presumably you then locked yourself in a room.
Pretty much, yeah. Then I became solely dedicated to Lady Luck and just making sure that the show was a whole piece and trying to organise it.
So it comes, I was going to say from your hot little hands, but these days everyone types it rather than there's no ink stains. But so you actually, you get it ready.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose the question is, have you had any chance to workshop it? Have you?
Yeah. Well,
how have you got through the development step? That final step from I have finished the paper copy, for want of a better phrase, to here are some real live breathing people who are actually singing it. Yeah,
well, that's what makes it. It's that extra step, isn't it? Yeah. That's the changing point of whether it's going to work or whether it's not going to. So once I got the cast in place maybe about a month ago.
Now, you are an actor professionally as well.
I am, yes.
So it's not that difficult for you to tap into that world.
Yes, well, through the drafts, I could look at it, because I was trained as an actor myself, I could look at it from their point of view and see, well, my character wouldn't do that, or, this isn't real, a human being wouldn't say that. That's ridiculous. So it's quite a colloquial script, so it's sort of stuff that
So where's it set?
It's set in London.
Oh, right, so it's London colloquial.
It's London colloquial.
I think our sharper-eared listeners will spot that you're perhaps not a Cockney.
No, I'm not from London. I am from just outside Glasgow initially, from a town called Paisley.
I think most people have heard of Paisley.
Oh, yes.
Lovely pattern pyjamas I had when I was a boy.
Oh, yes, I love a Paisley pattern. I've been in London for 6 years. So it's set in London, but as most Londoners would tell you, not everyone from London speaks with a London accent.
Or there are so many different London accents.
There are so many accents.
Yes,
in
I'm a
London.
Londoner, but people don't spot
Exactly,
that.
yeah, exactly. So in the show, I've got the actors to use their native tongue. As opposed to, so just to add this
to be who they are.
Yeah, to be who they are, basically, with the character, put on top of that. So I've got...
Well, that sums up the melting pot of London anyway, so that's perfect.
Yeah,
as
exactly.
real life as you're going to
There's
get.
so many, different cultures here that it's that's more interesting. It's more real to me to do that.
Yes, if all four came from Tunbridge Wells, it might be slightly different performance.
Yeah. I wrote a lot of backstory for the characters, but I deliberately didn't say this person's definitely from Glasgow and they have to have a Scottish accent or I will cry. So, for example, the leading girl, Zoe, who's the lady in relationship with Sander, she's played by Erin Cornell, who's from Australia. So she has an Australian accent.
But does she use Australian colloquialisms? And did you write them in, or have you said that this... how much have you let them sort of develop who they are?
Yes, well, I've sort of given them a lot of play with the script and stuff, and if there's things that they wouldn't say or they find difficult to say, a structure that this isn't right for them, then of course I'm not precious about it. They can absolutely change it and make it their own.
That's perfect, really, I think, to be honest.
Yeah,
you're playing so much with the characters, and you've been stressing all the way through this, and indeed before we started recording, but it's a character piece.
Yeah,
it can be described as a character romance or a character comedy, but the word is character.
It's definitely based around characters, and from the real characters comes the comedy and comes the romance and comes the drama. So hopefully there's something in it for everyone.
Oh, it sounds like it. Now, is it 2 acts? Is it 1 act?
It's 2 acts.
It is a proper,
yes.
It's a fully fledged, full
on. I didn't know what it was going to be when it started, obviously, so it's definitely 2 acts. Well, the York production is.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
Yes, well, maybe it'll run to 3 or 4 when it becomes an opera.
Yes, exactly, yes.
So you found your cast,
yes.
You've helped them develop into their roles, and they have helped their roles develop. So that's almost like workshopping. But so it's been in development ever since, even through the performance.
Yeah.
Are you directing?
I am directing,
You really are a busy man.
I am, yeah. Well, because it is such a short process, I felt it unfair for me to get someone who didn't know the piece and they'd have to know it inside out in order to direct it properly, or the way
I'd. That person is you, clearly.
And that person is, for this first production. And also, I get quite bored. So now that it's sort of written and in the hands of the actors, as it were, I still want my input. So
you've taken off one hat to put on another. You're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there is a danger, isn't there?
And,
this has been explained thoroughly to me that a writer sometimes finds it difficult to let it go, where a good writer says, "I've taken this journey as far as it's going to go, and I've pointed you in the right direction. But now, actors and Mr. Director or Madam Director, it's your turn to then take it to the next step."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And indeed, the audience has a role in any piece as well.
Yeah. No, of course.
No performance is the same. On 2 nights on the trot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it has to be something that the audience can relate with. And the only way to get that is to have actors who are comfortable playing these characters. So that's why I'm happy. I'm happy for them to experiment with the script a little bit, and
it's not wholesale rewriting. It's a character development.
It's character development. Yeah, exactly.
Now let's just talk about the score, because obviously we're talking about musicals, and it's not just about the book; it is the score as well.
Yes, of course.
Now, interestingly, I thought you said that the first few songs you'd written for yourself to perform in sort of cabaret and things like that, I guess. So you naturally sing. What's the voice you use when you're writing? Are do you want to put yourself in the label? Are you a modernist? Does everything sound like Gilbert and Sullivan?
No,
where are you between those two options?
I would. Well, two extremes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is rather.
Well, I tried to experiment with different styles of writing. So there's a few pieces I've done that have more, traditional musical theatre.
Oh, really? There is some sort of golden age feel stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean that's it's called the golden age for a reason.
Yes,
You got to respect that. So, but for Lady Luck, it's set in modern day, so I felt I had to have contemporary music with it.
Yes.
It wouldn't work out else otherwise. So yeah, it's a very, I would say, contemporary pop rock score to it.
Yeah.
But not in a sort of Rent. Not that sort of rock score or anything like that. It's just a contemporary piano lyric based musical.
So not when I don't mean purely ballads, but I mean anything that's in the contemporary sense.
Yeah.
So which is an attitude almost more than anything else, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There isn't one sound that sums up the era at the moment.
No, there isn't.
Why should there be?
Yeah.
But there is a zeitgeist and a sensibility, and you're plugging into that.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me saying, you're part of that zeitgeist sensibility.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not going to ask how old you are, but you're a younger man, and your central character is a younger man. Is he not?
Yeah.
Is he autobiographical? Or
he's not
autobiographical. Stressing that now.
No, he's definitely not. No, no, he is. He's the same age as me, 25, and he's. He's working in the city, but he's definitely. That's the only sort of similarity that we have. Because I thought, if I'm going to write this character, I may as well make it believable, make it something I know. And I know how to be a 25-year-old working in the city. So
Yes, you've done all the research.
I've done as much research as you can.
So what are your musical influences? It's interesting to me that you've made the decision to go for an interesting mix of sort of golden age classic musicals and with a slightly contemporary edge and contemporary feel.
Yeah.
What musicals did you love on the way up?
On the way up,
and indeed, how did you get into music and performing anyway? Because I think one is often tied to the other, is it not?
They are, absolutely. Well, I started when I was maybe 10 or 11. I started at a church choir. Literally just going because the girl that I liked was going as well, as you do.
And nothing says romance than high Kirk hymns.
Absolutely, yeah. It was great. And we had a very young and very talented musical director who worked for the Royal Academy in Glasgow.
This is the Scottish Royal Academy.
The Royal Scottish Academy, yeah. So she worked there.
Which is a fantastic organisation.
Oh, it's wonderful, yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's a real hothouse of talent.
There's so many talented people who go there. It's brilliant.
And come out of it, if I may say.
Exactly, yeah. So we, through Maria, who's the lady, she sort of introduced musicals to us as well. And so we started with, the traditional ones, Joseph, Annie, Oliver, family favourites.
Yeah, with one name.
Yeah, anything with one name, with one central character, we were on it. And then we sort of strayed into a little more complicated ones as we grew up.
Yes. Natural progression.
Exactly. Yeah. So we had, Jekyll and Hyde, Little Women, West Side Story, Les Miserables, like a lot of different musicals, and we always had a full orchestra from the Academy,
which makes a difference.
Oh, it makes such a difference. So I had the richest upbringing in terms of musical knowledge.
And how far did it go back? I mean, I made a flip comment about Gilbert and Sullivan, but in some senses they are the beginning of the range.
Yes, absolutely.
Were they not necessarily with the Academy, but did you say, I'm going to have a try of these, I'm going to see what happened in the 20s, I'm going to have a look at the Gershwins?
Yes, yeah.
I'll have a look at the 40s?
No, I done a lot of, or I have done a lot of research into musicals and how they've progressed, not just musical styles, but how throughout the centuries, how they've changed and how they've adapted to their surroundings and their audience, which I found
how they remain
remarkably
commercial, let's be
how
honest.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes. You don't remain commercial by missing what the public want.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I've been influenced a lot by pretty much every musical going.
But that's marvellous, isn't it? Because that gives you a real old ragbag of experience.
Yeah.
You can say, today I feel like a bit of this quilt, and later on I feel like that bit of the quilt.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing between them, but my word, they all bring me something.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. It's such a variety, so many musicals out there, so many writers out there.
But it also allows you to make a choice of what's right for your book, which you have done here, based on knowing that there are different options available, and not just because it's all you can do.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not suggesting anyone's going to immediately step up and write Gilbert and Sullivan, but you may know that if you were ever doing a 20s musical, you might find early Cole Porter and Gershwin to be the thing.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do as a writer is not to say, say someone comes to a production and goes, oh, that's an Anthony Irwin show. I'm not really a fan of that. I want them to like the show, not me as a writer. Well, obviously that would be wonderful as well. But so many writers out there, especially contemporary writers, who you go and see their show and it's their show because they've got the same style. The songs could be put in, another show.
So for you, the narrative is all. I don't mean the book. I mean the story demands everything, which is actually one of Sondheim's tenets, isn't it? I mean, if you've read either of his books on his lyrics, it is. I think it's content demands form or something like that. Once you know what you're doing, that's when you work out how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that actually you've actually given us a textbook example of that. You knew what the plot was, or you developed your plot, and then you worked out what you needed to do with it, and you picked the style and the feel, and there you go.
Yeah.
So you and Sondheim very close.
Me and Sondheim, two peas in a pod.
Sorry, Stephen.
Oh, me and Stephen. Yeah.
Yes.
No, absolutely. I mean, the story is the central part. I mean, these characters are what makes a musical. You can't have, for example, a really 80-year-old lady singing an up-tempo rock number. That just wouldn't suit unless it's in the context of the story.
Yeah.
It's just.
And good luck on writing that one.
Yeah, that's coming out next year. No.
So obviously it's not been performed yet, Lady Luck.
No.
But have you been showing people the rehearsal? Oh, the rehearsals are yet to start, aren't they?
They're yet to start.
So what comments have you been getting from people? Obviously your cast like it because they've not walked.
Yeah, yes, they've not done anything yet. Really, my cast. They know the characters, and that's pretty much it. Rehearsals start maybe 5-6 days before the production, so it's a very rushed, sort of demanding of them. But I know they're all up to it. Forgotten the initial question.
Well, it was really to say, what I'm trying to get at is, what comments have you yet had about it?
Oh, right,
yes. You're so early in the process.
Sure, yes. Well, we showcased some of the songs back in my concert ages ago in February, and the feedback we got from them is sort of they like the characters, and then through the characters they enjoyed the songs.
Oh, right, okay, but that's what you want in a way.
That's exactly what I wanted. So that's why that's what came to make me want to progress and sort of say, well, these characters are interesting, then let's do something with them.
So that's good. I mean, you've been actually taking the appropriate comments back and then saying these are significant, what makes this comment significant, right, this does, I shall work with this part of it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So you've got a focus group, very good.
Yes, no, I mean, I've got a great group of people in London who come and support me, and they're very honest with me. So.
But you only want honest friends, dishonest, not dishonest,
absolutely.
But I mean friends who flatter but don't tell you the truth.
Yeah.
You can't be constructively critical if it's necessary.
No, of course.
Aren't worth asking their views. Yeah. Whereas the ones who will actually say, this is great, but here you might want to do a little bit of tinkering.
Yeah. And I had a wonderful producer who's working with me, Sky Crawford, who is exceptional in what she does, and she's very honest. If she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it, but if she likes it, it's good.
Yeah. Well, you've got your threshold to meet.
Yeah.
Now, the nature of show business, like everything actually in society, is that everything's a little bit rushed, and there's never quite enough money.
Yeah.
And obviously, if this is going to a festival,
yes,
a new festival, so it hasn't yet got established. So
no,
it's not going to be absolutely running with gold and money.
No, it's very tricky.
If you had unlimited resources, this is a big if, by the way, but if you had unlimited resources, what would you do with this piece? Would it be fundamentally the same? Because it is a sort of chambery piece, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
There's no point in adding a 97-piece chorus and
no, I would never.
And fugal horns in
never do that. No, it's it's a very four-man piece. It's a very small, intimate story that's set in, it's very small. It's very intimate. So I couldn't even, to be honest, I wouldn't want to see it on a very large stage.
It's not going to play the Palladium, is it?
It's not going to play. It wouldn't work in the Palladium. It's suitable for smaller regional theatres. It would be great on a tour. It'd be great at fringe, at festivals.
But there's not that much more that extra money would give it then, is
exactly,
there? I mean, presumably, a nice set would be lovely.
A nice set would be lovely.
But not so essential.
Full band would be lovely.
So let's talk about your musicians.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Who have you got?
Well, we're doing the entire musical to pre-recorded tracks.
Fully understood, yes.
Because we have a very short rehearsal period, it means that the cast can rehearse with these tracks and know these tracks inside out. So when we get to the festival, we don't have too much to worry about.
And you've only got the one performance. So
yes.
What can you do? Yes,
yeah.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. And of course, these tracks have been played by real musicians.
Yes,
so.
yeah, exactly.
So what instruments are featured then in your virtual pit?
In my virtual pit, we have quite a few. I mean, it's very much piano-based drum, sort of feel to it, but on top of that, we've got the electric guitars. We've got some strings in there, and a very quiet background brass going on.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I mean, it's like contemporary score, but I love very melodic orchestral sounds. So to have them
You're in good company.
To have them sort of flowing in the background of these contemporary beats or these contemporary rhythms is
so it's sort of grounded.
Interesting.
Because the thing about London is that whilst it's cutting edge and melting pot, it's also madly traditional. And,
yes, exactly. Yeah,
you can as easily see a Gilbert and Sullivan as you can Spring Awakening.
Exactly.
I mentioned Spring Awakening because I happen to know you've been in it.
I have been in Spring
Just
Awakening.
Just thought I'd drop it in.
Yes, I was in the Frankfurt production back in 2010.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, it came straight out of college and went to Frankfurt. It was very exciting.
And how long did you play it there?
That was a great contract. It was sort of 7 months.
Gosh, that really was.
So wonderful. Sort of,
spring had gone through to autumn by then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was wonderful, and that's when I started writing through that contract. Because I suddenly found myself, after being a student and having no time to myself, suddenly found that I had lots of time to do. It was in Frankfurt there wasn't a lot to do. So I sat.
And how is your German?
Oh, not very good.
Hence the fact you've got a lot of time, yes.
Yeah. And also in Frankfurt, it's such an international city that everyone spoke English. So.
Oh right, okay.
I didn't. Yeah, there was once we'd seen the zoo, once we'd been to the museums. We still had 6 months to go, and we were like, oh.
Several hours before the performance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, let's put on a show.
Yeah, and it was it's quite a small theatre over there, so it was. We'd done maybe 6 performances a week, so had a lot of time to sort of play around with music and write shows and write concerts and arrangements of songs, and that's what developed my love of writing.
So here's my question though, just as a side note, who were you in Spring Awakening?
I was the character of Georg, who is the piano-playing teenager of the piece, and I also understudied pretty much every other part going.
Male parts, I'm guessing.
Every other male parts, yeah. Well, I understudied Moritz and the adult male, and so because there was only 12 actors in the piece, so we didn't have any understudies or any swings. So what happened if someone was ill? If our Moritz was ill, then I had to go on as Moritz, and someone would have to cover Georg's track with, it was very confusing and very tricky because we didn't have any understudies and swings. But
it's shoestring stuff, I believe.
Pretty much, yeah. But no, wonderful company to work with. The English Theatre in Frankfurt is who they're called. I believe they're doing Saturday Night Fever this year.
Are they really?
They are, yeah. I think the cast has just been announced for that as well. So the girl who played Wendla for us in Spring Awakening is back doing Saturday Night Fever. So
a different era and completely different trousers.
Different trousers, yeah.
And that's how I judge a musical.
I judge a musical based on trousers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, that's where you, as you say, you developed this love for creating music and writing, and and you did put on a little show on the side, didn't you?
We did, yes. We had 2 concerts. After our show, so Spring Awakening closed, we done our bows, and then we got changed. We went into the bar.
Different trousers again.
Different trousers again. This is how you know it's good. And the cast put on a concert for maybe an extra €8 or whatever it was. And so we all done our own arrangements of stuff. We done solos, group numbers, anything that we wanted to do.
And that's something you'd organised, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was Thomas Lorry, the musical director of Spring Awakening, and Craig Mather, who played Melchior. They had a lot of input and stuff, and we all sort of came together, and the cast all chose their own songs, and it was a very sort of put together as a group,
Yeah,
so
an all good ensemble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds excellent. So from there, as you say, you developed your love for creativity. You've been developing that both by writing single songs and now this music.
Yes.
So let us get down to the nuts and bolts. How can people, and this is a multi-part question, so you'll need to memorise this.
Oh, here we go.
How can people see Lady Luck?
Mm-hmm.
How can people find out more about you? Okay. And how can people hear one or two of the songs?
Okay, so people can see Lady Luck, just a one-off performance on the 23rd of July at the Joseph Rowntree Theatre in York. Tickets can be bought from the York New Musical Festival website, which is www.ynmf.co.uk.
It's not
And
the
that's
world's
how-
hardest code to crack,
It's
is it?
not,
So-
no, it's just very tongue twisterish.
as we found out earlier.
Yes, yeah. The New York, no. And they can find out a bit about me on my own website, which is www.anthonyirwin.com.
No, I think we need to say how Anthony is spelled here, isn't it?
Yes,
You're
Anthony
an
with
idiosyncratic young man.
without an H, so
Yes.
it's Antony. Yeah.
And Irwin is
Irwin is IRWIN.
lovely, splendid. And now I believe there's one or two of your tracks on there, aren't there?
Yes, so I've got a few links on my website of tracks. Because my website is for me as a performer and a writer, they've got some of me singing and they've got some of other people singing my songs. And also on YouTube as well. There's lots of, if you just search for me on YouTube, you'll find some of my music as well.
And are any of the songs from Lady Luck
Yes,
available for the public's ear?
yes, there are 2 available on YouTube, both sung at my concert in February, performed by Amelia Cormack and Emma Spears. One called I Won't Cry and another called So in Love.
Splendid.
So I Won't Cry is a very dramatic piece. It's sort of, the leading lady's 9 o'clock number, as it will. And So in Love is a more comedic sort of spin on love. And yeah.
Oh, really? That's interesting. So, because I wouldn't have guessed that from the title necessarily.
No. Well,
Good.
it's So in Love is Paige, Xander's best friend, suddenly finds that she's not only his friend, but finds herself quite attracted to this man, and doesn't really know what to do about it.
Oh, the blurring of boundaries, so difficult.
Because she, and in the song, she recalls of how when she was younger, she couldn't stand him, and like, what's going on? And
Yes.
like, I remember in school, there's a line where she flashed her pants to him in school, like it's just so like recalling these things. It's like, oh my god, I've done all this stuff with you, and now I actually quite like you. That's weird.
Well, nothing could be more romantic than that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so it's a bizarrely geeky, romantic, and slightly quirky, funny sort of piece.
And I suspect in many ways much more like real life. Because,
Absolutely, yeah.
The sweeping and lush violins that seem to underscore a Hollywood romance aren't actually true,
No,
listeners.
It doesn't seem to happen like that.
No, it doesn't. You, in fact, get obsessed by their Star Wars collection or whatever it
Yes,
is.
exactly.
First,
Yeah.
This is fantastic. So, it was one performance, so people must go along.
Must go, yeah,
Go to see it.
yeah.
Is it likely to go anywhere else? I mean, it's not going to
Yeah.
Edinburgh this year.
It's
is
not
it,
going
no?
to Edinburgh this year. No, not at all. It's just because literally I wasn't ready. So Edinburgh, you have to plan way in
Yes, you
advance.
do, yes.
And I wasn't ready for Edinburgh this year, not in the slightest. But you never know. Maybe next year. But there are plans to sort of showcase it in London as well after York.
Jolly good.
So we, I'll keep you posted on that one.
Absolutely, and of course it'll also be on your website, so people
Absolutely,
can follow you that way too.
Yeah, I have full updates on my website on a regular basis. So
Well, Anthony, I wish you great success. It's been a great pleasure, and do you know, it's an honour to be able to say I'm speaking to the first of the people who were ever, the inaugural show for the York New Musical Theatre Festival, which in 20 years' time, is going to be a
fingers crossed.
household name, I hope.
Yeah, it really is a great festival and a great idea. So hopefully people come along and they support it, and then we can do it all again next year.
And you'll be there, won't you? So.
Oh yes, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll
so
be there.
anyone who goes along can meet you too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anthony, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honour, and it's been a delight. But I also hope it won't be the last time. So
No, not at all.
great success to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
And,
it's
we'll
been
speak
wonderful.
again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Musical Talk. Well, that was Anthony Irwin, and before that you heard Rob Winlow and Jim Welsman. And my thanks to all of those people who very kindly gave me time out of their very busy schedules, preparing and creating the festival, to talk to Musical Talk. As I said, all those shows are on between the 23rd and the 29th of July, and they're all at the Joseph Rowntree Theatre in York, which is in itself a fabulous place to be. It's a lovely city. Do go along to the website at www.ynmf.co.uk and learn so much more about it. And you can also see the special message of greeting from Willie Russell, writer of Blood Brothers. Well, that's it for this week's Musical Talk. I've been Thos Ribbits. I probably still will be next time you hear me. And for the time being, let me say goodbye. But please, if you get the chance, do go along to this fantastic new festival. Goodbye. This episode of Musical Talk edited and produced by Thos Ribbits. Copyright Musical Talk 2013. And why not go along to our website and listen to previous episodes at www.musicaltalk.co.uk.